Welcome to Culture on Tap. We are a podcast that is about bridging the cultural gap one conversation at a time. We have myself, Xavier. We have Dale next to me, and we have Range behind the camera. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share on anywhere you listen to or watch podcasts. And make sure to hit the bell so that you get notifications whenever we have new content so you can tap in with us. And so that we can be a resource for you, whether to challenge and or encourage you. ...
So, fun facts with Range. This has been an ongoing kind of topic between you, me, him. A couple episodes back, we talked about Soka and Sith, and he had no idea what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Range, can you tell us what weapon they fight with in Star Wars?
Oh, this is Leia.
So, because I've been corrected multiple times, I can tell you what it is.
Okay.
And I can tell you what it needs to be.
Okay.
So what it needs to be, or what I call it, is a lifesaver.
Like the candy.
Like the candy.
Okay. But if you are destroying someone with it, how is that a life? Why should it be a lifesaver?
Because you're saving your own life.
You're ridiculous.
But it's, and I said that I would be able to say
exactly get it right. Wait, before he says, do you think he's going to get it right?
I mean, I was confident that he was until he just said, I gotta remember.
But so it's not a lifesaver, it is a lightsaver.
No.
There you go.
No.
No.
A lightsaver?
What
Yes.
is this? Where's it saving light from?
I asked Star Wars. I don't know.
It is a lightsaber.
Say burr, not ver.
Semantics.
Like really potato.
Is it though?
It's not.
So what is a saber? Like a saber-toothed tiger?
I mean, it's sharp, and it's a
So
sword.
what is a saber?
I don't know. Let me see. Let me look up what saber means.
I don't know either.
It's sharp light.
Sharp light. Making stuff up. Making stuff up.
I'm just saying, because you stab with it like a sword.
Well, so I'm not the only one.
A saber is a sword. So
There you go.
a light, because it's got a light coming out of it. It's a light sword.
A sharp light.
Sharp
Like I
light.
said.
Yeah. Well, I'm not the only one in my family that doesn't know what it's called. Because whenever we were walking around Disney, there was kids playing with them, and the boys said, "Hey, Dad, I want one of them glowing light sticks things."
Okay.
They're
They're
5.
5 and 3.
Yeah, well, you know. Again, potato.
So now that you've been multiple times to Galaxy's Edge, which most people call Star Wars Land, what is your opinion of it?
It's okay. I mean, I've never seen I've never seen even a preview of the movies, so I don't have a clue what it's like compared to like the movies. Mm-hmm. So I don't. But I mean,
what do you think of the ride?
It's good. I mean, we didn't ride any of them, or either of them. I don't love it. What are the two?
You tell me. I would rather you tell me.
So the one that has the queue that opens up to all the white dudes, or the white suited dudes. That's the better of the two.
Okay.
But to me, both of them are just average.
So first of all, that one is called The Rise of the Resistance.
Rise, there you go. Yeah. Rise is definitely the better.
Average?
You think it's an average ride?
Yeah.
Bro. You are tripping.
Like, even if you, like, to me, like, don't get me wrong. When you enter the room where the AT-ATs are, that is cool.
Yeah.
Like, because they're huge. Like,
Yeah.
that, how does that not, like, those things are massive.
Was there what things?
The big, like, basically look like machine elephants.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, entering that room is really cool.
Right.
That's right. Like,
And-
but just the technology, like,
Like you almost can't call it a ride. It's an experience.
It's a story.
like no other.
like you're literally in a movie.
It was. I didn't say it was trash.
You said it was
I
average.
said it was
Average.
good.
That's
You said
basically
average.
saying that it's trash.
Average
not.
to me, like, what's an average ride?
Haunted Mansion.
Oh, you're getting ridiculous right now.
No, but like a middle of the road ride.
But it's
Mine
like,
Train,
but it's like I'm not
Big Thunder.
talking about it like you talk about living with the land.
Yeah, well, you can't. Like it's physically impossible for anybody to call Rise.
Like,
Something
just the
like that.
technology alone is.
The technology is. You're right. It's
Yeah.
up there,
It's
but
average.
yeah. But I will say, so I would say Rise is average to good. The other one, that's junk.
Millennial Falcon Smuggler's Run.
Yes, I did not like that one at all. But maybe if you're into Star Wars, it might have a different opinion.
Well, you get to go. I think the ride itself is fine, but I think being inside the Millennial Falcon is pretty flippin' cool.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't,
So
I
that
don't know
ain't
what
cool,
the
but
Falcon is.
It's cool to be in the Jeep.
cool.
He doesn't know what the Falcon is.
Yeah.
It's arguably the most iconic vehicle in cinematography history.
BS.
Would you agree?
No.
It's up
I'm
there.
calling it. That's BS.
It's up there.
No.
It's at least top three
Top three.
easily. You see that? We
There's no way that and I want people to comment this if they know or
Okay.
if they there's no way that I'm the only one
That doesn't know. So
that doesn't know.
in the comments, ask people who pilots the Millennial Falcon.
we know you don't know.
Like, it is, I would argue, if a vehicle could be a main character, it is the main. Like, it is. Everything about the movie is almost surrounds this
So
vehicle.
you could. There's no need in ruffling all those feathers.
What does that even
Like,
mean?
what's the
I
other- what's
I
the-
could not tell you the difference, and I was going to say between the ships and the spaceships and like Guardians, but I know those so well, so I would know the difference. That it's not one of those, but like I couldn't tell you the difference between the Falcon and the Star Trek ship.
Are you serious? I don't even watch Star Trek, and like it's. I would argue that it's
I don't know that one.
like, but
No.
you've seen it on like
Yes,
like you would look at it and go, oh, that's Star Trek.
That's Star Trek. Yes.
No. The only way I would know that something is Star Trek is if it had the guy with the weird little face glass thing over his eyes.
So you think that most people would look like, I'm trying to figure out. So you think most people look and see the Millennial Falcon and don't go, oh, that's the Millennial Falcon.
Right. I would say on that, in that aspect, just see a picture pop up of it and say, that's the Millennial Falcon.
Most people would not know.
I would say that y'all are in the minority.
You think so?
I do.
Okay.
So please,
I mean, there's a lot of people out there.
Yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people have seen the show or whatever, but
okay. Most people don't comment, but let's people be honest. If you saw the picture of the Millennial Falcon, would you immediately know that's the Millennial Falcon? Like, so for example, because you would say if you round the corner in Galaxy's Edge, because it's right there, you don't think well, I guess because it's Star Wars and they assume it's a Millennium Falcon, right?
I didn't know that.
Not you, but I'm saying would you assume most people at that point knows because it's Galaxy's Edge that it's
No, because I didn't even know it had a name.
Oh.
I just knew it was just a ship.
Bro,
A
I
spaceship.
think you alone on this, bro.
Yeah. Like, I feel
really
like...
do.
I can't be.
What,
I can't
because is there a vehicle that you could think of that people would know more than the Millennium Falcon?
There's probably one that I think it's like they may know that one more.
What?
I would say, and you're talking about vehicle,
Right.
any vehicle, General Lee.
General Lee.
I think
would
the younger generation... I bet you my son has no idea what General Lee is.
Yes, but
True.
I'm talking about as a whole.
As a whole.
No, but I'm
I would
saying.
say these two vehicles are probably the most iconic vehicles, in my opinion.
So to me...
But see, I would disagree with that as well. I mean, because you've got Lightning McQueen.
Mike McQueen's way up there.
Yes, he would be.
But he's a talking car.
Right.
I'm thinking just transportation
Yeah.
purposes. To me, General Lee and Kit
Kit, yeah.
are on
Yeah.
the same level, but I would say, you don't know what Kit is? The talking car? You never saw the show Kit? I mean, Knight Rider?
No.
Herbie.
What about Herbie? That's a Disney movie.
So I was actually thinking of this one. Is that the punch buggy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
So I would argue, because those are older movies, I would say people probably 16 and down might have never heard of General Lee.
Yeah.
Especially with cultural awareness now, it's kind of faded out.
Yeah.
And then Kit, even more. I would argue generations past and present, if you just threw a picture of Millennium Falcon on the screen, I would say 90% of the people in the room would know
Absolutely.
what that is. 90%.
But would
Absolutely.
they know it by name or know
100%.
that's the Star Wars ship?
I would say 98% would know it's the Star Wars ship. I would say 90% would know it's the Millennium Falcon.
I don't know.
Easily.
I don't know. I guess we'll ask the few followers that we have their opinion, and that's what we'll have to go off of. But
Do you think your wife would know?
no,
Okay.
no.
Because my wife doesn't watch Star Wars either, and she would 100% know.
And I've been to Star Wars Land, and I've seen the big
Just so
ship sitting
we're
there,
clear,
and I can't even think of what it looks like. Like you could put it up on there right now, and I wouldn't
you wouldn't know if it was it or not.
if it was it or not.
Like the Millennium Falcon, I don't know this for sure. I would argue is probably one of the top 3 most sold Lego sets.
Really?
Probably so. I mean, I could be wrong, but the only reason it's probably not number 1 is because it's unbelievably expensive. But it's like, if we were rich, Ethan would want it.
Right.
He ain't asking for it because it's like
He ain't even asking for it.
$700.
Woo!
Yeah, and it sells out constantly.
Really?
Like it's hardly ever in the stores.
Wow.
So, well, there you go.
Yeah, well,
Millennium Falcon's just a ship.
that's crazy. So what are we talking about today?
So today we are talking.
We dove all the way into that.
Yeah. Can you lose your salvation? Which I think is been, at least in my whole life, has been an ongoing conversation.
Yep.
So let's just start with what comes to mind when you hear that statement. Can you lose your salvation?
If I'm honest, not that it's an unnecessary topic. Not saying that at all. However, I feel as though we spend so much time talking about that rather than sharing the gospel. You know, like, because me coming up, this and the Calvinism versus Arminianism debate are the hot topics in the church.
Right.
And it's just not that it's a waste of time, but I feel like we spent a lot of time trying to figure this out rather than just...
But even with that, would you say, because I could be wrong, I don't know that anyone on the Calvinism side believes you can lose your salvation.
Correct.
There are people on the Arminian side that believe you can't.
Right.
I don't know if it's 50-50. I really don't. But you definitely are Arminian. If you didn't know that,
Yeah.
you are free will. You have to be free will to think you can lose it.
Yeah.
Have to be.
Yeah. And that's conditional security,
yeah.
basically.
So for me, you didn't ask me back. It was kind of rude, but whatever.
You were still in the middle of the talk. You're still talking.
Come to mind for me is, why are you asking? Borderline.
Mm.
I'm already worried for you.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds so arrogant when I say that. Now that I think about it, not that I think that I know all, but if you don't, whether you land on one side or the other, we can debate who's right, but if you don't already know where you land, then how can you have already made a decision?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like to me,
Yeah, go ahead.
if you don't believe you can lose it or you believe you can, you should know that from the jump and know how you're going to live your life accordingly because of it. Personally.
Yeah. It's almost like with someone, especially from a first person standpoint, they're asking that, it's almost as if they're asking, how much can I get away with and still be saved?
Yes. Because I feel like, we're going to get into it, I feel like if you're someone that believes you can lose your salvation, you should be, from a work side of it, you should be a way better Christian.
And bro, and I guess we just dive in, you have sections of denominations, whether it's Catholics, whether it's Eastern Orthodox, whether it's Lutheran, who basically, instead of getting all into the weeds, they're basically conditional security. Basically, you got to work for your salvation and continue to work for your salvation. And there's two or three, very little conditional security Baptists. It's Free Will Baptist, and then there's some other small Baptist denominations that believe in conditional security. So to your point, yes, those guys, girls, I don't know girls, but guys, they are all the way about that life in works and
Yes.
Just making sure that they are dotting their I's and crossing their T's.
So, and I think this is fair for me and you both to say about both of us. Neither one of us believe you can lose.
Correct.
However, we do not always align with people that don't believe you can't lose in their theology either.
Correct.
There's some things, and we'll get into that in a minute, that we don't align with either. So under the camp, because we're just talking about the side that believes you can lose it right now. Number one, if you can lose it, because there's the camp under that camp that believes if you can lose it, you can get it again. And there's the other side that there's this very, very small group that think you can't, that you're done. Truly for me, I theologically, not as people, I try to respect everyone. Theologically, I respect the side that doesn't believe you can get it again more than the people that think. Because I'm like, what are we talking about?
Just losing your keys?
Yeah, I'm like, because this is if you really think about it, this is a beautiful picture. I can cheat on my wife this week, punch a dude out next week, and every Sunday get saved one more again.
Yeah.
And first of all, and I guess, how do you wrestle with the scripture that talks about that he only dies on the cross for you once?
Yeah.
What do you do with that? And and I just feel like under the side of losing your salvation, I would want no part of it because it feels like a lost cause. And because I don't, even in my walk now, I can never be good enough. Where's the line?
Exactly.
Where's the line of I sin to the point that I've lost my salvation? Is it something that I have to feel in me, or can someone else recognize in me? Well, what if you really don't like me and you recognize it quicker in me than you did in someone else?
Yeah.
Like we got to answer all these questions. Like, where's the line of piece of security?
Mm-hmm. But I 100% agree with you. Just coming at it from a different angle. How arrogant
That's what I was going to say too.
is it that, okay, the Lord saves you, but you're the one who determines whether you keep it or not? Like, how arrogant
Right.
do you have to be? And you don't think you're going to lose it? You don't think that, okay, the Lord dies for your sins,
Yeah.
but now you are responsible
Yeah.
for the weight for the rest of your life.
Like,
To
you can't
carry-
take care of your dog you forgot 3 times this week to
Bro,
feed your dog, but yet
exactly.
you're going to take care of your
Of
salvation.
salvation.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how arrogant is that? And not demeaning anybody who believes that.
No, but it's just,
like, let's think about this. First off, biblically.
right.
But just think about it from that standpoint of how arrogant do you have to be to think that you can walk the rest of your life keeping your salvation, whenever a lot of times in the New Testament it talks about the Lord preserving.
Right.
The Lord is the one who...
Look, I mean, because we agree there is one on this side of heaven, we're just living under the promise of salvation.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with us
Yeah.
except being faithful servants,
Yeah.
Which is still not enough for salvation, except He made it enough.
Yep.
There is nothing on Judgment Day where I go, look what I did.
Yeah.
I don't believe that at all.
Yeah.
But of course, to me, there's two camps of loot because there's a lot, and both of them to me demean, because you're talking about arrogance, demeans God and makes us arrogant and more like God, which is a scary thought. Because there's the camp of losing salvation where you didn't do well enough in your power with your salvation that you lost it, which would be everyone, so we're clear.
Absolutely.
Then there's the camp that believes, well, you don't actually lose it, God takes it away. Who wants that God?
Yeah.
Because my question is, okay, if that's true, I need you to write a few more books on how you're going, like, where are the parameters of you taking my salvation?
Yeah.
Because maybe externally, no one, hopefully in my life would go, well, He would take it from me. But internally, the thoughts and heart things that I've struggled with, my God, like it'd been long. like I lost it like the hiccups or a sneeze.
Yeah.
It's been gone.
Yeah.
And
But
so
that thought is like with the losing your salvation, it's still about you. It's
absolutely.
still about me. It's still about us. We are still the center of the entire universe rather than Jesus actually being the center of the universe. So it's still
Which you were talking about even today, like when you talk about all
3 weeks ago.
yeah.
3 weeks ago.
You're right, 3 weeks ago. I'm like, no, I was there.
Today. No,
I was there today. You did a great job. I heard it.
3 weeks ago. Yes.
Yes, 3 weeks ago. I'm never good at that. But no, I mean, the whole Bible is about Him. It's not about us. And I think that we don't get that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and so let me ask this question. Do you think, and I don't know this, I haven't done enough study into history. I've asked myself, did this mindset form out of, so this guy prayed a prayer, we confirmed that he's saved in our power, and then he didn't live right. And so instead of just saying he never knew Jesus, we don't want to back off on that we might have made a mistake. Which we speak to, because one thing I will say that as the director of Youth Reach and that you have implanted well in us is, let's don't be so quick. Not that we're trying to make people not believe that they gave their life to Christ, but especially with these boys, we don't over spiritualize it. We don't over celebrate it. Let's just see. And I think there's a that's not the way I was raised. Especially in Southern Baptist, you give your life to Christ and we're gonna party.
And it's the once saved, always saved mantra.
Oh, and we're gonna get into that.
Right. But, like but no, that's exactly right. It's crazy because you have, on one side you have the lose your salvation camp. On the other side, it's like, bro, let's let's see if there's any sort of fruit besides an emotional response.
Right.
Like, because I would say my conversion was pretty radical.
Absolutely.
It was a pretty radical conversion.
Strong conservative Christians would question your conversion.
Exactly. And it's like, how let's still see fruit. Let's still see, like, let's not put him on a pedestal, put me on a pedestal. I mean, let's not do that. But what we see is people operating in their giftings.
Yeah.
Because, bro, there's been people in my life who showed me some stuff who ain't walking with Jesus now.
Well, I don't know about you, but in this day and age, you telling me you're a Christian means nothing to me.
Absolutely nothing.
Like, you say you're saved. I'm not questioning your salvation, but it literally means nothing.
We'll see.
My mindset always is, we'll see. And it's not from a judgmental, arrogant place. It's just truth will show.
Yeah. And you've seen a lot of people walk away. I've seen a lot of people walk away. And it's not just like, oh, okay, I don't follow Jesus. There's some of that, but now it's like hostile towards everything that is God. And it's like how did that happen? So to your point, it's like I don't know the exact origin, but I would bet that it's some of that, like, man, he was walking with Jesus and he was strong, he was gifted, he was sharing the gospel, he was doing all serving, he was doing all of these things, and now he's not. So it has to be that he was saved and now he's no longer saved, which is completely contrary to what we see in the New Testament over and over.
But this is something that I think is so true. You saying that, because I'm glad we went there. In our last episode, we talking about real life issues. We've talked about struggling with performance driven. That stance that they had to have lost salvation goes back to a performance driven. Because we can't believe that someone could fake it for the glory of God, which they can't. Like, I mean, me and you, just like you have people in your own life and I have people, but like students, even someone we were talking about the other day, that we watched them grow in their faith and completely walk away from their faith, which means there was no faith. And I don't know why we have to go, because it becomes about us. Well, I confirm that they were saved, and now they say they don't believe there's a God, and they've walked away from God. So they had to have been saved, because I couldn't be wrong. Why can't you just say, the evidence I saw made me believe that they knew Christ? Clearly they did. Because I do believe all of us have people in our life that we believe are Christians that aren't.
This is literally what John was talking about. I think it's 1 John 2:19. It says that they were with us, but they were never of us.
Right. And
because if they were of us, they would have continued with us.
And I believe that he is not solely, but he is speaking of Judas.
Absolutely.
Like, if you don't think that someone can do the will of God and not know God,
perfect example.
He is literally did the ministry, and Jesus even told him to go do the ministry, which wrestled with that a little bit. But at the end of the day, the Bible says that the devil resided in his heart. And so, to me,
and I said it 3 weeks ago, in the context of hardship, I said that whenever hardship comes our way, it doesn't shipwreck our faith, it reveals our faith.
Right.
So, like, if you wasn't walking with Jesus in the bad, but you were walking with him in the good, you were never really walking with him at all.
Right.
That's what I believe.
Right.
That's what I see in Scripture.
No, because I think we both can agree there have been, not as much as we've matured in our faith, but there have been seasons in our walk where we have plummeted, but we never questioned that we belong to God.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to talk about belonging to God. I didn't want to think about it, but I never thought he's not my savior. I just took full advantage of it.
Here's a picture of what I think, because you brought it up, just how gifted someone was and the external, the productivity that they were showing, but then they walked away. Bootleg shoes is like a $2 billion industry in the United States. Like, they're getting to the point where they are so good at making it looks real.
They've even created stores where you have to, like, they'll slap the bottom. I've seen the videos. It's crazy.
To verify that it's actually real. And you have so many people walking around in shoes that they think are real, but they're really not.
Right.
And you find out that they're not real because after a few times of wearing them, the outside still looks good, but the inside doesn't still have
Right.
that same amount of padding, the same amount of basically work that keeps the real, authentic thing fresh and real for over a year.
Right.
Whereas you wear it sometimes, you wear a couple of times, especially don't let it rain.
Oh.
Then the insoles are done.
Yeah.
It starts cracking on the inside. Like it's wearing on the inside, and that's a picture of,
Yeah.
it looks good on the outside. He's doing everything right on the outside, but put a little pressure on that, and the inside he starts to break, and you see that it wasn't real at all.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a beautiful picture of even when God talks about chafing the harvest and the wheat and the tares.
Separating the wheat
and,
from the chaff.
and I think that it's so prevalent. So let's, on the opposite side, because we don't want it to come across like we think that the other side, the idea is you cannot lose your salvation.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we agree that we do not believe that. We do not agree with a lot of the mindsets.
Absolutely.
The main one being once saved, always saved, which, and honestly, probably turns my stomach more than losing your salvation, because the mindset is you're in this club for life. It's almost like a college professor getting tenure. Like, I can do whatever I want now because he can't take it from me.
Yeah.
And to me, that mindset is, one, it's easy.
Yeah.
Especially when you have to do that funeral for someone that the only evidence of salvation is youth camp 1994, night 3.
Yeah.
Where, like, literally,
They wrote it down in the church.
it's in the back of my Bible.
Yeah.
And so because of that, and like, to me, like, I would be devastated if I'm sitting there at someone's funeral and it's this year and the person giving it is remembering 10, 15, even 3 years ago. And that's the only evidence we have, and we're hanging on that you've given your life to Christ.
Yeah.
Like, did you?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and, you know, not to dive all the way in this, but like, with your aunt just passed away, like, there was no doubt in my mind. I'd met her twice, so I knew nothing of her except the praises from you and your mom and just people in your family. But the blessing for me being at that funeral was there was no doubt in my mind this woman's in heaven. Like, I didn't see her fruit, I didn't see her walk, except the overflow of it in the other people. And the sadness wasn't sadness of where is she? The sadness is that we're just going to miss her. And so I think that, to me, God, like, I would hate, like, this, once they'd always say it's this, like, that's what it literally is. Like, it's almost like, okay, I'm doing wrong, but hey, I got you. Like, I'm still, like, I got
that one time?
Yeah. Remember that one time I got that stamp? You can't read it anymore, but I ain't ever washed the hand.
It's like, bro, dang, this is like the 50th time that I'm buying your lunch.
Yeah.
And you like, remember that one time?
Remember that one time I had you over and I made bologna sandwiches? We didn't have no mayonnaise or cheese, but you got that bologna.
And I didn't even get to eat it. Your dog ate it, bro. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. Exactly. Remember that one time I invited you to the movies?
One time.
Like, that's how we live without salvation. I didn't get to go to the movie.
Yeah.
You told me about the movie, but I invited you. Remember?
One time. Yeah.
But, like, I mean, and to me, and I think this one, it hits my stomach differently because it is the Southern, I don't want to blanket, but for a long time it was a Southern Baptist movement, and a lot of people it still is. Once saved, always saved. And so my stance, where you stand as far as free will in Arminian or predestined in Calvin, a reform, however you want to look at it. If your mindset is once saved, always saved, you probably ain't saved. Like, I'm just being like transparent because I wrestle with my salvation.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not going, did I get this right? Like, because I don't know about anybody else. We assume that Judas in his heart of hearts was doing a whole lot of corrupt things, but there's no evidence of that.
Yeah.
Like, the only evidence is that he had a love for money. And if you live in this country, hello, you struggling with that. I mean, I don't have much of it, but I like all $4 that I do have. And I just think about, like, we're talking about a guy that God sent out in 2 by 2 to heal the blind or heal the sick and to share the gospel. We're talking about someone that fed the 5,000. We're talking about someone that literally, with his actual hands, God blessed to do miracles. We're not talking about someone that witnessed them. He was one of the 12, and he's in hell. Like, and when I like, this is such a thing for me. For years, my wife refused to admit that because she could not wrap her head around how you could be in such proximity to Jesus and go to hell. But like, it's clear as day in Scripture that he had not surrendered his life. And it's not because he committed suicide. I want to be really clear. Yeah. Some people teach that. That's not that. It's because he had never surrendered his life. Yeah. He was waiting for a different king.
Yeah. And even on the flip side to it, when it comes to the doubt, even if you are doing good things and you have submitted your life to who God is, the doubt is still real in the sense of, you see it in John the Baptist. Who, whenever he was locked up, he said to his disciples, "Hey, can y'all really go ask Jesus? Is he who he really says he is?"
I really need to know.
Like we got to figure this thing out because I'm struggling, and this is, like, if it wasn't for Paul and for Peter, he's right there as one of the greatest New Testament.
He baptized me.
Like
he got the baptize. Like
he is right there.
Like, he's like, look, I'm probably fixing to die.
Yeah. I need to know.
Like,
are you who you say you are?
If there is a secret password code, I'm going to need you to tell me, because if not, I'm going to get out real quick.
Yeah, like, so on the other side, to your point, like, even not on the Judas side, but on the John the Baptist side, as far as you are submitted to God, but
you're still doubting.
The doubt is still real.
Any Christian that says they have never doubted is lying.
Full of crap.
You are lying.
Yep.
So what advice? So we've kind of nailed. It's neat. We agree. Now here's what I tell people all the time. You can't lose what you completely surrender to Christ. And you know that in the way you do it. I believe that. I don't want us to get into reform, free will, because that's a whole nother episode, which we'll probably dive into on another day. But what would be the advice you would give to someone that's struggling with their salvation?
So if it's an actual, I literally had this conversation a couple of days ago. If it's an actual struggle,
I like that.
If it is an actual tug of war where you are trying your dead level best to put sin to death, and it's a struggle, take heart in that, because that shows conviction. That shows that there is something happening internally. If it's not a struggle, if it's just easy to be like, or if it's, as we said at the top of the episode, how much can I do and still be saved? Or how much can I get away with and still be saved?
Remember that one time.
Like, if it's that, then you should be worried. But if it's an actual struggle where, maybe you are in a cycle of, just that sin that's sticking so closely to you, for a season, for 2 seasons, for 3 seasons, whatever the case may be, but it's a struggle and you're broken over it, take heart. That shows conviction, which shows you really belong to the Lord.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, then you wouldn't.
Right. No, I love that, because I feel like if you're questioning your salvation or confirming your salvation off of performance, then it's about you and not about Him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling you that continuous struggle with sin is not a thing to question, but it shouldn't be questioning your salvation. It should be questioning, okay, God, what else am I not doing that you want me to do? Like, your salvation should be secure. Your walk should be under scrutiny of yourself. And I think that, and when the things are good, there should be a level of humbleness that comes in, that you are diligently trying to reflect it away from you and back to God. I would say, I love what you said, that if there's a part in you, like, to me, when you're struggling with sin, there should be a brokenness because you're not looking like the Father. It should always go back to, it should always go back to God. It should not be, so maybe I don't know Him. It should be, He loves me and I'm not doing well. Like there should be a burden there, not of questioning who you are, of questioning why you're not more like Him. And I would even just encourage you, I am in a season where I beg people to seek wise counsel, because our emotions are very fickle. I'm not saying to never listen to your emotions. The Holy Spirit does work through those, and He can confirm and things inside of you that you're dealing with. But seek wise counsel. Have people speak evidence over you. And I'm just being honest. Like, if you hang out with someone for a season and then you tell them that you love the Lord and you're saved, and they're shocked by that,
what?
Like,
this is brand new information.
Like, that should make you rethink who you are. And, and you go, well, that's still performance based. No, it's the evidence of your fruit. Like, we both have agreed that we are in a season of struggle. I do not believe, whether it's physical or internal hurt that you're going through, same here, that those things are making people believe that I don't love Jesus. I don't believe that. I think that we're transparent, that we're not where we want to be, but it's also not giving either me nor you a license to sin. And we're
and there has been where people have said to me, like, I can tell that the Lord is doing a work in you.
Yes.
Even though you ain't, like, I'm not. There is hard. And
this is not a class that you signed up for. It was a class that you just got put in.
But it's like, man, I see that the Lord is working in you based off of what you're saying, based off of whatever the case may be. So it's like, again, to your point, like, it's not a license to sin, because it's like, oh, you know what? I'm going through this. My Achilles is detached. My heart is broken. I'm going to go wild out. Like, nah, that's not evidence that there's struggle. That is just, you know what? Were you ever actually walking with God? And not just in this particular situation, but just in general. When bad things happen, when hardship comes your way, is your initial inclination to run to the Father or run away? Even if it's not the initial, if at any point you don't run to God and you are okay with running away, that's evidence that I don't know if you know Him, bro.
No, and I think that's a beautiful point, because I think this is something I don't think you knew. I was been wrestling with this with people, is this idea that I'm mad at God, which gives me a license to live like hell. Like, I don't know how to say it any other way. It's such a cop-out. Like, you're not mad at God, you're loving your sin. And you feel able to sleep at night because X, Y, and Z happened to you, so now you get to do whatever you want to do. But I would say the best evidence that you love the Lord is when you're in the storm. That people still see that you're raising your hands and falling on your face in front of Him. And I feel like it's not always easy. It's not supposed to be easy. And so I would say my advice for anyone that's struggling with their salvation is, if you are not being mentored by someone that's helping you know that you know that you know that you're saved, then you need to move on from that mentor and find someone that does. And I think it's good for anybody. If you were sitting in a church that believes you could lose your salvation, or you're sitting in a church that's preaching once saved, always saved, I'm telling you, you need to leave. Neither one of them is the right philosophy. And you go, well, once saved, always saved is that's not what we believe. Mm-hmm. We believe that you give your life to Christ and you diligently serve Him. Once saved, always saved means I agreed to your plan, so now I get to go back and live my plan. Mm-hmm. And that's not at all what we subscribe to, or subscribe to. And so,
I'm not sure I understand.
My wife didn't understand me. And so I would just encourage us to seek Him, because I think, and this might sound arrogant, but I don't mean it in that way. I am no longer in a place in my walk where I question my salvation.
Yeah.
At all. Like, that's not on the table. It was. There was a time when I was a young Christian. I'm like, did I genuinely give? Because my story is different than yours, where you had this radical, supernatural moment. I walked down the aisle multiple times, and I can't tell you which one was the time where God, and maybe it was none of them. I don't know. I just know that I surrendered my life to Him and pursued Him, and I know that He lives, and I know that on Judgment Day, He will grant me salvation.
Yeah.
And so, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks?
No. I mean, I think you summed it up, and I guess there is one. Like, if it seems as though that we were harder on one side than the other, that was not our intentions.
No.
I feel like we were pretty even, and actually probably leaning more hard on the once saved, always saved part, because we kind of subscribe more in that direction than the other, based off of not practice, or based off of not in word but in practice.
I agree. I feel like, I think we're harder there because we're in your camp, but we ain't
with you.
Yeah,
we ain't with
yeah.
you.
You over there
we're
running
closer, but we ain't with
you
you.
a talking head, and we over here.
Right. So that was not our intention, to be harder or to make light of anything. It's just, we really want to see people genuinely come to know Jesus. And we feel as though that both sides it's just a dangerous spot to be. I don't know however else to say it. Like, danger, not in a good sense of, man, this player on this other team is dangerous.
Right.
Like, we've got to make sure that we guard them. No, dangerous in the fact that you are a liability to the team that we're on. So don't want to make it seem like we're making light or just sniping. Like, this is something that we walk with and walk through each and every day, and we feel as though it's a big problem in the church, and we just want to see genuine salvation.
And I would even say, if you disagree with us in either camp, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely.
I can tell you right now, our question is going to be book, chapter, verse. I do not mean that ugly, because opinions don't matter.
Yeah.
If you can't back it up scripturally, there's not a whole lot that we need to discuss on it.
Yep.
But yeah, so this is Culture on Tap. Thank you for tapping in with us. And we pray that you have the security of your salvation and a proper theology. And if you don't, we would love to talk to you. And we hope you have a wonderful day.
Best classic hits. You can download the Houston Radio Platinum app. It's in your app store, or just ask Alexa to play Houston Radio Platinum.